This is Iron Sheik. You're listening to another wrestling podcast.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
Are you ready to be the man? You have to be the man. The champ is here. It's just a man. Give me a hell yeah. What the Rock is cooking. Woo. Yes. Woo. What? Yes. Woo, woo, woo. What you gonna do when Hulkamania destroys you? For the benefit of those with flash photography, would you please shut the hell up? Oh, yes! Ooh, yeah! That was what was best for business. The kid to dig that sucker! And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Have a nice day!
With your hosts, Steve Credo and Jonathan Benjamin.
All right. Welcome to another wrestling podcast.
Episode 50.
I'm Steve Credo.
And I'm Jonathan Benjamin.
Jonathan, can you believe we made it to the big 5-0?
It's crazy. It seems like yesterday we were just one.
It's right, Jonathan. It's been an amazing 50 shows. Thanks for everyone out there for tuning in, supporting us. Jonathan, thanks for being on the other end of the microphone to where I can actually talk to somebody about wrestling.
Well, thanks for being on the other end as well. And we have a special treat for not only us, but for all of you as well today. What better way to celebrate number 50 than having the Iron Sheik himself? Do not adjust your listening device. We did say the Iron Sheik is going to be in the studio today.
That's right. We're also going to be talking to Jian Magen, one of the producers of the new documentary, The Sheik, that's pretty much out everywhere right now, guys. So it's going to be an amazing show. We're going to have The Sheik joining us shortly, and we'll talk a little bit about his documentary and a little bit about pro wrestling in his life.
Well, before we get to that, Steve, we have this new hotline that we've been pushing for the past couple of weeks. We got some amazing calls, so let's check that out before we talk to the Sheik.
Hey, this is Big Mike from Brooklyn, New York. Love another wrestling podcast. You guys spit the truth. You guys are awesome, and just know that you guys are the people's show, and you guys do what you do, and you do it very well. All right? You guys are great. Good night.
Hi, guys. It's Teresa. I just wanted to congratulate you on your 50th episode. That's a big milestone, and I'm excited for the next 50 episodes and beyond. You guys deliver awesome content, and your guests are super exciting to listen to. I'm pretty proud of how far you guys come, and keep up the awesome work.
Hey, what's going on, Jonathan, Steve? It's Joe Bruin here with the New England Fan Fest. Just wanted to wish you guys a happy 50th episode. It's a milestone for you guys, and it's been a great ride, and obviously a long way coming. So many more episodes to come, many more guests to come, and obviously we'll see you at New England Fan Fest. But once again, congrats. It's 50 episodes. It's a big deal. It's another wrestling podcast.
Hey, this is Amy from Jersey, actually calling from the parking lot of a mall. I know, shocker, being from Jersey and all. But I just wanted to call and wish Credo and Jonathan a happy 50th episode of another wrestling podcast. I love you guys. I don't get to see you enough, so it's a good way to keep in touch with you guys. I can't wait to hear who you guys have next for the next 50 episodes. Congratulations. Bye.
What's going on, guys? This is Hank DeCooter, social assassin of the mark, calling. Say, what's up? Credo and JP, congratulations. 50 episodes of another wrestling podcast. Fantastic. Congratulations. You guys got a great thing going on. Good show. Great that. Great guest. Keep it up, guys. Looking forward to what you have to bring to the future. Later.
Well, guys, thanks for calling in. Be sure to keep those calls coming, as we will pick the best ones each week. And guys, if you don't know the number by now, you should know it. It's 802-AWP-7672. That's 802-297-7672. Guys, give us a call. Talk to us, right?
That's right, Steve. Now, what you should do whenever you call this hotline is you can tell us anything you want about wrestling. Maybe you have suggestions, comments, you want to give us questions to ask future guests. Have at it. Have fun with it. And like Steve said, we will play the best each week. So it's really worth it for all of you, because then you can be famous by proxy.
There you go, because we ask you guys each and every week to tweet us at a wrestling pod. That's a wrestling pod, or Facebook us on facebook.com/another wrestling podcast. But if you can't do that, like you said, you got that hotline right there for you guys to call. So give us a call. So make your voice heard to the millions.
And millions.
And that's not very enthusiastic, Jonathan, for episode 50, man. I'm going to do it again. For the millions.
And millions.
Of podcast listeners. Well, I didn't really know how to end that, but that's pretty good enough, Jonathan, right? AnotherWrestlingPodcast.com. Guys, head there right now. We're on a lot of media, a lot of social media, a lot of different streaming services. So like us, follow us, subscribe to us, leave some comments, and join the show.
Well, I would love to let you just keep rambling on and on and on, but the man, the myth, the legend, the Iron Sheik has just walked in, so we have to talk to him.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. I thought you were going to get on your knees too, Jonathan, and say we're not worthy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Damn it. Joining us today is one half of the Magen boys, Jian Magen, along with a man who is number one in everything he ever did. From his days in Iran till today, he personifies what hard work and dedication is. He was an amateur champ, a WWE champion, a WWE Hall of Famer, a Twitter champ, and now a box office champion. He is also a number one grandfather. Be careful what you say to him, because he will break your back and make you humble. It is our honor to have on the one and only, the Iron Sheik.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you. Thank you guys called me and want to talk to me. And I have to, I'm very happy about that.
Yes. Well, thanks a lot, Sheik. So your documentary, The Sheik, the unfiltered and shockingly entertaining story about the Iron Sheik, was released last month and is now available all over iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and coming out later in the year, a DVD, which will have many bonus features. I personally just caught it on Netflix, and it's possibly one of my favorite documentaries I've ever seen, and it's also being considered one of the greatest wrestling documentaries of all time. Now, Sheik, when they asked you to do a documentary on your life, did you think that it would be so successful?
Well, that was they did a great job, Jake and Mike and Megan boys, two brothers, and the father know me from Iran and here, and they did an excellent job. A lot of people call me, they like it, that's true story, and I'm very happy to their two brothers. They did an excellent job for the true story about Iron Sheik.
Now, Jian, what inspired you guys to do this film?
Well, like you said, our father was best friends with him growing up in Iran. And so we grew up with this guy in our family, coming to dinners, 4 times a year. During the 80s, wrestling was seriously a hot thing at Toronto and Maple Leaf Gardens. And after the shows, all the heels would come back to our house with the Sheik, and my mom would cook for like a week for all the wrestlers. And so we've known this guy. We have a very rich history, and we had known the real history about him, and his life in Iran. And we said, like, this is a real crazy story. So let's get our buddies together, a couple of guys we knew had cameras, and let's film a documentary. And it started in 2006, and never in my wildest dreams would I, ever think that I'd be on a podcast with you guys, 9 years later, and you're saying it's one of the greatest wrestling documentaries of all time. Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah.
Well, now, Mr. Sheik, in the documentary, we learned a lot about your life, from growing up in Iran to joining the army and even being the Shah's personal bodyguard. After all that, what led you to being in the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I come to the Minnesota from Iran, and Olympic coach, Mr. Alan Rice, from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mr. Alan Rice was an Olympic coach, 1972, Munich, Germany. And anytime before that, from 1969 to 70, 71, I went to the Munich Olympic with Mr. Alan Rice, come back, and then I tell Mr. Alan Rice, I'm interested to, after 3 times I come All-American champion, I said, I wish someday you take me to the Mr. Gania office to introduce to me, and I want to be a professional wrestler. So I turned pro in the Minnesota, 1974. Greg Gania and Ric Flair, Campetera, myself, and Jim Brunzeller. We started in Minnesota because I was already had a name, 3 times All-American champion, and then I just want to come pro to make a better living. And like I said, anytime I come pro, God bless him, my coach, which is passed away last week, and Mr. Gania take me to the television station, introduced to me. So, and then I said, after many years wrestling in Iran and America, now I want to be professional. That's why I started in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Now, Sheik, you mentioned you were broken into the business by the late, great Vern Gagne and trained under Billy Robertson in the same class as Ric Flair. You also helped train a bunch of wrestlers, including Ricky Steamboat. Did you enjoy teaching others the art of pro wrestling when you were young?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I grew up with the toughest sport in the AAU Olympic, Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling. And wrestling in Iran is a national sport. And Mr. Gania had a camp, and then Ricky Steamboat, Boxroom Hoff, and Jen Nelson, some another lot of wrestlers, and they come over. I trained them, and myself, I was assistant coach for Mr. Alan Rice. So wrestling, I grew up with wrestling all my life. So that's true story. And my head coach was Mr. Gania and Billy Robinson, and we all had a camp over there in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
Now, Jian, did you guys have any challenges with finding people to be involved with this project? Maybe, there's a lot of great legends in there. Was it pretty easy to get people to talk about the Sheik, or was it kind of difficult for you guys to find people? There were definitely some people who, just due to their schedules and, whatever other restrictions in life that maybe couldn't do it, and it's gone too bad. But, in the end, I think we got the right interviews to tell a very unique story, from a unique perspective of, there's so many great wrestling stars there, but, I think the ones we got were good for the actual film. And, we can't thank the guys enough who stepped up. Guys like Jake Roberts had a huge part in it. And obviously, Jim Ross, who's been so instrumental in, putting us over and in giving us credibility like no other. He just, he's the voice of wrestling. And so he jumped on it. He was instantly said yes. And then obviously the biggest one that we got that completely blew us away was obviously having The Rock in the film. Absolutely.
Now, how did you guys get The Rock?
So we thought, the only one guy that could literally, take this movie from being like, a good movie to like something extra special, we said like, it's The Rock. And so I asked Sheik, I said, Sheik, like, what's your relationship with The Rock? I just never really asked him. And, and he said that, his wife used to babysit The Rock when Rocky Johnson and Sheik were on the road in the 70s and 80s. And we had no idea that there was that relationship. And so we had gotten the contact of The Rock's manager, Brad Slater. We asked, for an interview. The guy said, hang on a second, let me ask Rock. Calls back like the same day, says, you know what, Rock will do anything for Sheik. He loves the man. Can you guys be in Florida in the next 3 days? And we were like, yeah. So we packed our bags. We get to the studio to do our interview with The Rock. There was like a whole pile of media waiting for him. And we were up, and Rock comes in the room, and we were told we only had 5 minutes with The Rock. And that's what we were told. So we packed in as many questions as we could, and we get there, and Rock was so generous, and he basically said, I know they told you 5 minutes, but I'll do whatever you need for Sheiky Baby.
Oh, nice. And Chico, what did you think about The Rock using, one of your classic sayings, jabroni, all these years? And what did you think about that?
Well, Rock himself is a great performer, movie, wrestling, everything. But The Rock is a very honest man because he tells exactly truth. He learned jabroni from Iron Sheik. That's why I respect the man, and he know what he's talking. But Rock himself is great, and I want to tell him thank you. He did an interview for me and about my documentary. Him and his mother, father, good people. But I respect him because he was an honest man. He was young. I used to travel around our sport, and I like him very much. I try to share my wrestling experience to him, and then he learned jabroni from Iron Sheik. That's why I respect him to tell everybody.
Now, Mr.
I had no idea. I had no idea about that either. That was just something that came up, and for us, we couldn't believe it. Like that, as we're going along, we're learning all these awesome tidbits about the Sheik.
That's what makes this documentary so great is just because there's a lot of unexpected things that you guys uncovered that probably wouldn't have been found out if you guys hadn't done this. So, now, Mr. Sheik, when you first arrived in the WWF after leaving the AWA, you're wrestling people like Bruno Sammartino, Chief Jay Strongbow, Bob Backlund. Were you happy to be wrestling some of the best talent in the world at that time?
Absolutely. Excellent question, because you're a very intelligent man yourself. Number one company in the world is WWE. And was for me big honor, big pleasure to I come from Minnesota, which is my number one coach was a professional, and Mr. Gania, God bless you, so and I come to the Big Apple, and I saw Bruno Sammartino, like you said, Jeffrey Strongbow, and a lot of great talent, and the best promoter in the world, Mr. Burgania, and Mr. Vince McMahon, father and son. There was completely different territory for me, and it was number one territory in the world for me to be over the single, the tag team champion, we take all single champion, with Mr. Bob Backlund, and then the Mother Royal. It was the biggest pleasure for me, biggest honor for me in the world to be WWE champion.
Sure. Now, Sheik, Bob Backlund was one of your greatest opponents, and you even beat him for the championship. Was this one of the best moments of your career?
Absolutely. That was the most biggest night for me in the world, because Mr. Bob Backlund, 6 years, nobody beat him. and I've been in the most famous arena in the world, Mackay Madison Square Garden. That was the biggest night for me because after all many years, I worked hard for amateur, and then professional and coast to coast around the world. And finally, I made it to the Big Apple WWE to be champion. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard working, very, very hard working. And it was not easy for me.
Nice.
And that night was the biggest night for me in the world.
Now, after you won the title, you lost it to Hulk Hogan after only 4 weeks. Something we don't think you get enough credit for is that you basically created Hulkamania. But were you ever disappointed that you didn't get to hold the championship longer?
Well, you already know enough. Excellent. That's true story. But I'm just whatever my boss wants, and absolutely, I was not happy to only one time I wrestling with him, and everybody know without Iron Sheik, without Mr. Vince Kennedy McMahon, no Hulkamania. WWE and Iron Sheik make the Hulk Hogan to be Hulkamania. Without Mr. McMahon, without Iron Sheik, no Hulkamania. But still, I was happy because my boss, Mr. McMahon, did a good thing for me. I don't want to refuse whatever he said.
Sure. Now, Sheik, you also made a lot of history while you were in the WWE. You were part of the historic first WrestleMania, and along with Nikolai Volkov, you won the tag team championships. What was that experience like? Being at WrestleMania for you.
It was the biggest pleasure for me and Nicola and I with Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham and be part of WrestleMania number 1, number 2, number 3, and also the biggest one was Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan, 93,000 people, and Nicola and I, we was attacking against the Killer Bees, Jim Bronzeller and Brian Blair, and that day was nobody sold out Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan, except WWE.
All right.
Now, Jian, we also understand the Sheik got you guys into the wrestling business when you were young. Is that right?
Yes. So we were party promoters in high school, and we kind of were drawing big crowds for people because my brother and I were DJs, and we had reconnected with the Sheik after a long time. He was wrestling at an independent show in Toronto, and when we got there was 70 people or something, and we were drawing 300-400 people every week to come to our parties. So we thought of this idea to put on a wrestling show where I would wrestle my twin brother, and we would have the Sheik as a special guest referee. And it was just a really cool thing, and it put us over real huge, and we got to reconnect with the Sheik, and we ended up creating a bit of a wrestling business with it and doing shows all across Canada.
Wow. Nice. Well, so all these things came together with you and the Sheik through the years, and with this whole documentary being out, I mean, we learned a lot just by watching it, and it's great to see a lot of this happen and unfold. And you both of you guys, you have a great history together too.
Yeah, no, we're real fortunate. I'm really just a lucky human being. That it just happened to be that my father grew up in Iran, with the Iron Sheik, and so I inherited a huge blessing, and it's been nothing but great times, and there's been some rocky, crazy times, everyone can imagine, and you've seen it online, and it's almost sad at this point, but there's a new Sheik coming this way, and it's more of still a badass and a trash talker, but he's more like the Godfather Sheik,
Sure, definitely.
Sheik, you're also known because you were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. Is that the ultimate honor for you as a professional wrestler?
That was the biggest honor for me. Like I said, It's not easy. It's not to be WWE Hall of Fame. I'm happy. Mr. McMahon, great promoter, her daughter, son-in-law, and then Triple H and Mrs. Linda McMahon, all of them great people, and they're great to me. I cannot forget as long as I live Mr. McMahon and his family. And also, for my documentary, Jian Magen, and a father, mother, even Jian's wife, Kelly, anytime I come to the Toronto, and she's a beautiful person, and every whole family, they take care of me. And also, you forgot to say, also I was Canadian heavyweight champion in the Maple Garden.
That's right.
I've been down to Moscow.
Where are you guys? Where are you guys based out of?
We're in Poughkeepsie, New York. We like to call it the capital of pro wrestling because you guys did a lot of stuff in the 80s at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. You filmed, classic videos like the Land of a Thousand Dances up here. You guys used to, wrestle all the time in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Poughkeepsie, New York, of course. I never forgot as long as I live Poughkeepsie, New York, and we come over there and make our television tape.
Yeah.
TV tape, Poughkeepsie, New York, yes, sir. And then next day we go Albany, Poughkeepsie, and another one after Poughkeepsie was Albany and
maybe Glens Falls, New York. Yeah. All over New York. You had a resurgence on social media by the Magen brothers from YouTube to your Twitter account, your roasts. How does it feel to be back on top where you belong?
Like I said, that twin brother Magen boys, Jian Pajman, and they did a great job for me, and I'm very happy. And I don't know how much I have to tell him. I appreciate it. Thanks for what they did for me. And God bless you.
But Sheik, you know what he's asking? He wants to know. I don't even know, guys. You know what? Sheik doesn't even know how big he's re-begotten. Mm-hmm. You know that? It's like I keep trying to explain to him, but because he's already have the 100,000 fans in an arena chant his name already, so he, it's been embedded in his head, but I think he's bigger now than he's ever been in his life.
Definitely.
And so I don't think he realizes that. Like, he doesn't realize how many people he's reached with the videos and the documentary, and I think it's just really cool. He's like the last of just a classic, good old-fashioned, hardworking Iranian entertainer.
That's right.
Now, Mr. Sheik, you've even landed on Howard Stern a bunch of times. Tell us a little bit about you and Howard. You're pretty much a cornerstone on their show now, right?
Yeah, Howard show was good, and I've done his show, and he take care of me. He's good man also, and I don't have to say anything anymore. It was great, his show, and entertainment, everything good. Howard is so nice man, and he take care of me anytime I go to show, and he's a good man too.
Now, Sheik, if MMA, mixed martial arts, if MMA were around when you were in your prime, how would the Sheik fare against the likes of Brock Lesnar or CM Punk?
My young days, they cannot handle me. No different situation.
That's right. Now, I think about, when I think the Iron Sheik, I think about just an amazing athlete, a butt kicker, and I think about that amazing mustache that you have. In your opinion, does anyone else have a great mustache, or do you have the number one mustache?
I just leave it to the people to decide.
I think what they're asking you, Sheik, is who had a better mustache, you or Hogan?
Of course, Iron Sheik.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you so much, Sheik, for being one of the. Thank you so much for being one of the nicest, most humble men on the planet. Thanks for the Magen boys too for putting this documentary together and keeping Sheik at number one for many years to come.
Exactly. Like I said, thanks again to my first promoter, God bless his soul, and his son, Greg, and his three daughters, Mr. Vulgania, Mr. Alan Rice, and if it was not from them, I cannot be WWE champion or run the world. God bless all my friends, Minnesota, and Mr. Gania family, everybody, and thank you guys calling me. You guys have a good night.
Wow, Jonathan. Sheiky baby, thanks for joining us. Jian Magen, thanks for joining us as well. What great guests, Jonathan, for episode 50. Have we outdone ourselves?
I think we have. The bar has just been raised, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks, months. We've got a lot of big things coming up, one of which is the New England Fan Fest. You will be able to come and see not only me, but Steve as well. We're going to be there doing a live show. And Steve, tell them a little bit more about the Fan Fest.
That's right, guys. First of all, if you're online, if you're on your phone, head on over to newenglandfanfest.com. You're going to get your chance to not only meet some of the greatest wrestlers in the world, some of the greatest managers, some of the greatest women, professional wrestlers that have ever existed. We have Jim Ross, who will be in attendance. Goldberg will be in attendance. The likes of Sabu will be there. Greg the Hammer Valentine. Tatanka, many
today, Junior.
I know. I was going to say Tanaka, but it's Tatanka. Davey Boy Smith Jr., Shelly Martinez. The list goes on from Scott Hall, Jimmy Corderas. Guys, head on over to newenglandfanfest.com. You're going to be able to meet and greet all these stars. Friday, June 26th at the Rhode Island Convention Center. The New England Fan Fest is happening, right?
Yeah, the festivities begin on that Friday. You're going to be able to eat dinner with some of the biggest wrestling legends. I think that the tickets for that are on sale now for $100. You will get to eat with Eric Bischoff, Jim Ross. I mean, I don't really even need to go further than that. Get on the website. There's so many different things. And then on Saturday is the actual Fan Fest itself. There's going to be live Q&A sessions. There's going to be bikini photo ops, not from me or Steve, but there's going to be some lovely ladies taking the time out of their day in a bikini to take photos with the fans. And then the actual Hall of Fame ceremony itself, which is great because it honors a lot of local people and wrestlers that have spent their whole life entertaining us, the fans. So like Steve said, get on the New England Fan Fest wrestling site and check it out. Come up, say hi to us. We're going to be doing a live show there.
That's right. And you said bikini photo ops?
Oh, I did.
With the likes of Jackie Haas, Shelly Martinez, Maria Kanellis, Ryan Shamrock, and Crystal Marshall. Guys, come on. You know you're going to want to go to this. We're going to it. It's where Another Wrestling Podcast all started from. So be sure to head on over to newenglandfanfest.com. You'll find all the information, how to get tickets, to meet and greet some of your favorites of yesterday and today. For one at every. Okay, yeah. All right, Jonathan. Well, we just spoke to the Sheik. He was the number one at everything. But speaking of the number one, let's talk about the number one prize in all the wrestling land, the WWE Heavyweight Championship.
I'm just glad that we're not speaking about number two.
That's why he's there, folks, for that.
Thank you.
But Jonathan, we've talked about Cruiserweight Championships. We've talked about the Intercontinental Championship. But today, for episode 50, why not throw all of our knowledge into the number one championship, the number one prize that every wrestler out there works so hard to get, and that is the coveted WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Jonathan. Now, there's a lot of things to talk about this title, for example. But first off, where it all began. Who is some of your favorite champions to ever hold this coveted prize?
There's been so many people that have held this championship that are just amazing. I would be remiss if I didn't say that one of my favorites that held the WWF championship at that time were Ric Flair. Let's see here. You put me on the spot. You really did. Obviously, Ultimate Warrior is another one that I really enjoyed watching as a kid that had the championship. Hulk Hogan. There's a lot of people out there that really won this prize. And to be honest, back then, I feel like the title meant so much more. So I'm sure we'll get into that later. But those are probably three that I really, really remembered at the beginning of when I started watching wrestling. Flair in 92, Hogan in the early 90s, and as well as Ultimate Warrior.
Well, since you're asking about mine, Jonathan, I know you already know it.
No, I didn't want to.
I know you wanted to know this. So there we go, Jonathan. Great segue, as we call it in the biz. Bret the Hitman Hart was probably one of my favorites, Jonathan. Could you believe that?
The worst there is, the worst there was.
Cut his mic. Oh, wait, there's nobody else except for me and you. But anyway, hey, Bret Hart. Man, I'll tell you what. Bret Hart definitely picked up that ball after Hogan left with it. And definitely ran with it. Bret Hart was definitely one of my favorite champions because at that time, though, what people don't know, at that time, I was at that age to where, I was really getting into wrestling and I really looked up to him. He was really one of my heroes. Like, granted, it all started with Hulk Hogan, throwing, becoming the world WWE Heavyweight Champion back in the 80s to where, Hulkamania exploded. WWE exploded into a whole new realm that nobody could even perceive. But at this time in the early 90s when the Hitman won the championship, it was a whole new era. And that era was the Hitman era. But I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But Bret Hart was definitely one of my favorites. Hulk Hogan was one of my favorites. And the Ultimate Warrior was definitely the top three for me right there of yesteryear. But Jonathan, there's more knowledge out there than besides our favorites. So that's why I want to get into it a little bit. So Jonathan, who was the youngest superstar to win the WWE Championship? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching it while it happened. It was He Who Shall Not Be Named versus Randy Orton.
No, Jonathan, I'm going to cut you off right there. I have to cut you off right there. I know you want to say Randy Orton, but that's not what I'm talking about. See, what people think is that Randy Orton was the youngest to win the WWE Championship, but that was the World Heavyweight Championship. Brock Lesnar was actually the youngest to win the WWE Championship at the age of 25. And people think that Randy Orton was the youngest world champion, but the youngest WWE champion was Brock Lesnar. Now, guys, you're thinking, what are you talking about? Because later on, they actually merged the World Championship with the WWE Championship and became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So what we're getting into is that the WWE Championship is far greater than the World Championship. So when they finally merged, when you look back on it, people would say Randy Orton. But do you hear me, Jonathan?
I hear you. I feel like I've been tricked.
A little bit of duped. It's a little fun trivia fact for all you kids out there. You can, throw on your friends. I'm sure everybody's going to call in and say, well, he's technically the WWE World Heavyweight Championship then. But no, it's not, because at the time when he won it, it was the World Heavyweight Championship. But anyway, Jonathan, besides my point, Brock Lesnar, could you believe that he won it at the age of 25?
He was such a beast whenever he first got into the WWE. I was very excited to see him win it. He had an amazing run. He took on Hogan, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, you name it. He was a fighting champion, and that's what gave him so much credibility for whenever he came back to the WWE now. So a lot of people give him crap for only being around, but he definitely put in his time and had some hard work there in his early years. All right, Mr. Question Maker. Do you know who the oldest WWE champion was?
I don't know. I'm going to have to go on a limb and just say Hogan, because he's just old and I know he's had it, but I don't remember. I don't know.
Well, brother, you would be incorrect. Actually, in 1999, for all of you kids out there that are listening right now, Mr. McMahon actually pinned Triple H on that year on SmackDown to become the WWE champion. He was also the first man to win the WWE title while wearing dress slacks. I hope that is not the last time, however, that happens.
That's funny. Guys, man, as we're talking about, just some things. I know where someone's gonna make a point that we forgot something, but that's the point. Like, we want you guys to let us know what we forgot and tell us your thoughts about different things. But Jonathan, that's interesting. The oldest champion is none other than Vinnie Mac himself. Hey, it's good to be the boss, right? It's good to be the king. But Jonathan, through the years though, there's been many different designs. From one of the original ones where they call it the winged eagle look, where Hogan had that and Bret Hart had that, to where, they kind of made it a bigger winged eagle. I don't know if there's another official name for that, but it was kind of like the same belt, just a little bit bigger and rounder, to where they had the spinner, where Cena debuted, and many other championships. Is there any design, though, that sticks out to where you look at it and you love it? I mean, like, even the one they have today, where, believe it or not, fun fact out there for you guys, the WWE, the belt, the metal that they had was made right over here in Orange County, New York, at the Orange County Choppers, over here near our hometown. So it's a little fun fact about the WWE Heavyweight Championship that you see on TV right now.
Yeah, now I would say, for me, if we're just going by the look of the title, I really liked the classic winged eagle or the World Heavyweight Championship after it was brought over from WCW. I wasn't a huge fan of the belt from the Attitude Era that Stone Cold and The Rock and all those guys had, and I definitely wasn't a big fan whenever they started to kind of make it only about one champion, like when Stone Cold had the Smoking Skull belt. Or there's a little known fact, but The Rock actually had his own title at one point, but it never debuted, and it's supposedly lost. And then John Cena made the spinner belt, which I thought was nice. It was kind of refreshing, but then it really just got kind of old after a while.
Yeah, it got old fast, man. Even Edge had his own title. Steve Austin with the Smoking Skull belt. I never really liked them. I kind of like what they're doing now with the newest one, where they have like the side plates, which is kind of cool, to where they can customize it to their own logo, but they don't have to change the whole belt around. I think that's unique and that's very cool. But my favorite's the Winged Eagle. I love that classic look. I loved how, I honestly feel like they should have never changed the belt and just kept it that belt. Maybe a little modification here and there, but, just keeping that one design. Granted, I know you got changed with the times, but I don't know. I have that belt hanging in my room. I love it. It's signed by the Bret Hart. Did you know that, Jonathan? I'm waiting for a wise remark.
No, I'm just going to let this love fest go on.
But yeah, man, I don't know. Do you feel like they should have kept changing it through the years? I mean, I don't know. I feel like that one design, should have just stayed. Like, and I don't think that classic belt, maybe they could have made it a little bit bigger like they did eventually, but I don't know. I feel like they changed it too much. I feel like, it kind of gets lost in the mix after a while when you change it too much.
I definitely think that it should have, I think they should just kept doing what they did, changing it up every now and then, because I think you have to change. The wrestlers changed, the entrances changed, everything got kind of bigger and more in your face, and that's really what keeps wrestling going today. So I'm fine with the changing. I just, like we mentioned, I wouldn't have kept the spinner belt probably for as long as they did, but what are you gonna do?
Sure.
Now, I have to ask you, we were in attendance at the Hall of Fame for WrestleMania 29, where we saw Mick Foley, we saw Trish Stratus, we saw Bruno Sammartino inducted. I may have just given it away, but do you know who the longest reigning WWE champion of all time is?
Bruno Sammartino, baby.
That is correct. Now, do you know how many days his title reign lasted?
Ooh, I remember it, but I forget it. It's one of those things that you hear it, and then, I don't know. Tell everybody.
I will. 2,369 days to be exact.
Wow, I couldn't imagine that till like today. I think, I don't know, do you think people get bored after a while? Like 2,000 days, that's a long time, man.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I mean, especially because we had 434 days of CM Punk, and we all kind of thought that was a big deal. So
yeah,
2000's a lot crazier. And you want to talk about change. I mean, how we all talk about how we want these long title runs, but do you think that you could literally watch somebody for 2,369 days be a champion?
Well, yes and no. Yes, if it's somebody like this day and age, Brock Lesnar. I honestly could have watched him at least till next WrestleMania. I'll be the champion, honestly. Anybody else, though, it really depends. Like, John Cena, even when he had it, I didn't want to see him hold on to it for a long time. And, there's been other guys to where I didn't mind them having the championship belts. But, after a while, you just kind of get tired of it. For Brock Lesnar, though, I don't know. For me, I'm speaking for myself, but I mean, I could have just, he did not bother me as champion. I loved how he came in and was that spectacle. He didn't need to be there on every Raw or whatnot. It made it more prestigious in a way to where, like, wow, the champion can do what he wants. He comes in when he wants and wrestles when he wants. And hey, that's fine and stuff. I think we are a little spoiled this day and age with, the internet and the network and, wrestling shows on every day of the week compared to when they just filmed it either once a week or once a month and then just played certain shows out. So the times have changed, though, Jonathan. So I think that the changing of the times has definitely changed the way people perceived the champions to hold on to this strap, right?
Yeah, and that's like 6.5 years. Wow. So, I mean, I just can't imagine people having the attention span for that to happen so long. But I think that Brock was great. I think that CM Punk's run was good during that time. Are there any other people that you think that you could watch that you would want to see like champion for a really, really long time? Like currently, is there anybody that you think?
Man, currently, I don't know, because I feel like, to me, like I said, Brock Lesnar was that dominant guy to where, like, even today, like, he technically didn't lose at WrestleMania. He was not pinned. So, it kind of, keeps that hope that he will be champion again soon. But somebody to hold on to it that I would see today, I don't know, because, I mean, in my mind, Brock Lesnar is that beast, that really, tough guy that's really hard to beat. Seth Rollins, who has it right now, currently, he's a great wrestler, but he's just, he's somebody that I don't see him holding on to it like a Bruno Sammartino or even the CM Punk right now in his career. But I can't even think of anybody, honestly, to where I'd want to see them hold on to it as much as Brock Lesnar, though. I don't know. That's just me.
Okay, well, I mean, you got nothing for me.
I got nothing for you, man.
I think that definitely somebody that could keep it going for a long time would be somebody like, I'd love to see Dolph Ziggler get a longer title run. He's unfortunately gotten injured a few times, but I think that he could keep the fans' attention for a while. And I would say at least for a year, Dolph Ziggler could be a champion. So make that happen, WWE.
There you go. Jonathan, as we're talking about one of the most prestigious titles in all the land, guys, I just want to remind you once again, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Tweet us, Facebook us, let us know your thoughts on what we're talking about, and tell us what we didn't talk about, because, hey, you can even call a number, which I'm not going to repeat, you should know it by now, to let us vent your thoughts, and we'll play it on the air. But Jonathan, as we talk about the history, what we liked, what we didn't like, all these different little factoids, one other little factoid that I want to read to you, which is kind of, I might get you on this one. So I want to see what WWE event has seen the most WWE Championship title changes.
This is either going to be so easy that I'm going to get it, or it's going to be one of those things where you think it's so easy that you don't get it. But if I'm guessing, and I am, I'm going to just say that it has to be WrestleMania.
You're reading the cue cards, aren't you? But no, it's a close one, though. WrestleMania actually edges out Raw as the WWE event with the most WWE Championship changes. It's a fun fact to think about, because, how many times has the belt changed hands? I didn't Google this, so I'm not going to read it. But you know what I mean? Just to think about it, how many times it's changed to where there's 31 WrestleManias. Throughout those WrestleManias, how many times has it changed? but it's been changed for all you people listening out there. We'll tell you, it's been won 18 times on the grandest stage of them all. And as far as pay-per-views go, Survivor Series actually trails WrestleMania with 10 WWE Championship changes, while Raw has the most for televised shows with 13 since its premiere in 1993. So just some facts for you guys right there. 18 times at WrestleMania, 10 times at Survivor Series, and 13 for Raw. Hey, did you know? We need that the more you know music.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask you what you can... I mean, this is completely up to you, obviously. So... was there ever a champion that you weren't so happy with, I guess? You saw them, you thought, well, maybe they'd be good, or maybe you never even thought of them as being a champion, but then they become champion and you were just not too happy about it.
Man,
I mean, I can give you mine straight off the bat if you'd like.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say that when The Miz won the WWE Championship, that was a dark day in the history of not only professional wrestling, but in my life as a whole as well. Miz is good at what he does and all of that, but I just did not see him main eventing WrestleMania in a program with The Rock and John Cena and becoming the WWE champion. I just didn't think it was worth it, and there were a lot of good people back then that I think were maybe more deserving of that title.
Wow, it's a very a very good answer. I'm trying to think. Let me go back a little. Oh, okay. I'll give you an old school answer, and a lot of people might even hate me who love this old school, but Bob Backlund when he had it later in his career, when Diesel beat him. As a kid watching it, I was like, why is this guy the champion? But at the time, I didn't know his history. I didn't know who he was. He was just this doofy white guy jumping around, acting like crazy. And when he won it, it was just like, why? It almost seemed like the downfall to the WWE at that time to me. But like I said, going into this, I didn't know who Backlund was. I didn't know his history. I just knew what he was on TV at that time. So I was kind of actually happy when Diesel beat him, which was actually one of the shortest championship matches in history against Bob Backlund to win it. But yeah, I'll definitely go with Bob Backlund on that one.
Okay, Steve, we've been talking a lot about the championships today. My question to you is, back when there was Raw and SmackDown, they were both a separate brand. There was the WWE Championship and there was the World Heavyweight Championship. Do you think that the WWE should split again and have a draft and all that stuff and have two separate championships, or do you like that there's only one undisputed championship right now?
I actually like that there's just one champion right now. It definitely needs that brand split because there's just a plethora of guys out there right now. There's too many guys, in the fold for all this action going on. But I mean, your champion could be on every show. I don't want to see each show have its own championship. What I would like to see is every champion could be on every show. Or the WWE champion could be on every show, and then for WWE at least, you have SmackDown would just be for the IC belt, or the main event could be just for the US belt, or things like that. You know what I mean? To where you can kind of brand all your other shows to the other belts and other divisions, but you have that champion, the WWE champion, on every show. At the time when they had the World Heavyweight Championship and then the WWE Heavyweight Championship, it worked like that, but I wouldn't want to, separate the belts again like that. And, I think it would only, I would only want, one champion as it is right now. And I think they have it in a good spot right now. So we keep talking about the WWE Championship. And as we get to the end of the show, I just want to maybe one more factoid for everybody. What superstar has had the most WWE title reigns?
Boo. This gentleman, it used to be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Well, I guess it still is the Nature Boy Ric Flair overall championship reigns, but as far as the WWE is concerned, John Cena has won the championship 15 times.
Yikes. Crazy, guys. He is close to beating Ric Flair's record right now. What do you think about that? Tweet us. Let us know. At a Wrestling Pod. Crazy facts about the World Heavyweight Championship. Jonathan, I know we could just keep going on and on about reading facts, but, we just kind of wanted to get into a little bit of it because we're only at episode 50, Jonathan. We're just scraping the surface of this championship to where maybe at episode 100 we can delve even further into this prestigious title. What do you say?
Yeah, I think so. I want to hear from you guys. Tell us who your favorite champions were, who the worst champions were. We do this show for you. We are fans just like you, so just get involved. I guess that's the main point that I have to say is let's keep going. Here's to 50 and 50 more, Steve.
That's right, Jonathan. Crazy 50 episodes. Guys, I want to reinstate this factoid about us to where, guys, if you're listening for the first time today, you can go back to episode 1 through 49 right now and listen to it. Because why, Jonathan?
We are unlike any other show out there right now. We do not, and I have to say this every time, we are not just a recap show. You just watched Raw tonight. You just watched SmackDown, you just watched TNA, Ring of Honor, whatever. We're not going to just tell you about what you just watched because why? You just watched it. So what we are going to do are talk about topics and things that you guys want to talk about. So that's why it's important to tweet us at A Wrestling Pod, like us on Facebook, follow us in our cars, wherever you're at. Just let us know what you think and what you want to talk about because we're up for the challenge. I'm ready to talk wrestling with all of you, and I know Steve is as well. So let's get some good things going. And I mentioned it earlier in the show. We will be at New England Fan Fest, so I'm hoping to meet a lot of you on that day.
Community calendar.
All right, guys, for everybody listening to the show tonight, head on over to northeastwrestling.com. There's great shows coming up down the line. On May 23rd, we have the big Bethany Bash in Bethany, Connecticut. It followed by June 27th in Bethany, Connecticut. Another great show by Northeast Wrestling. But, Jonathan, one of the biggest shows around coming to the area on August 1st is Wrestling Under the Stars 4 in Fishkill, New York. You are going to see the Hardy Boys, Alberto El Patron, Velvet Sky, Mickey James, the Young Bucks, the Northeast Wrestling Champion, Matt Taven, Brian Anthony, and also Rey Mysterio Jr. Jonathan, it's going to be a great show. It's at Duchess Stadium in Fishkill, New York. Guys, head on over to northeastwrestling.com. Buy your tickets today. They're only $20. We will be there live. So, hey, what better reason to buy tickets than to see Jonathan and me, right?
Absolutely. And like Steve said, we're going all over the place. If you follow us on social media, you'll be able to see where we're going to be, and you'll get some special behind-the-scenes photos maybe and things that you won't necessarily get unless you follow us on all of our platforms of social media. Thank you for listening today.
Each and every week, we create something for you to listen to, and it's absolutely free.
We are the Wrestling Fans Podcast because, after all, we are fans as well.
That's right, and help us out by subscribing to our shows on iTunes. While you're there, you can rate us and give us a good review.
If you're looking for any more AWP, then head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com to find out about upcoming guests and where we may pop up.
That's right, so be sure and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, and buy an official AWP t-shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com/anotherwrestlingpodcast.
We couldn't do this show without you, so tune in next week for
Another Wrestling Podcast.